The trolley problem has become too overused. Do you want something even harder, a deeper moral dilemma? Welcome to Omelis. Everything in Omelis is perfect. It is the best utopia you can imagine. People walk happily with their children. There are grand architectures, futuristic things, and even a drug that does not cause addiction. A child plays the flute while a horse race takes place nearby. But there's one thing. Underneath one of those big buildings is an underground room. Lives a small child. The child is about 10 years old, but it looks like 6 years old because he is so weak. He has never seen the sunlight. He stays alive with only a few basic things and can no longer speak properly. It's because the entire happiness of Omelis depends on the child. If anyone helps him or even says kind words, the happiness of the whole city ends. Would you even think about that child for a moment? Would you still choose to live there? Would you care to imagine all the suffering he is going through? Because if they truly thought of it, they would not live in Omelis. They would simply walk away from it. This story perfectly captured humans' dilemma and a critique on a perfect utopia. Every person in Omelis has to know about that child. Some cries, some feel sad for him, but almost no one tries to make any difference. Only those who think deeply about it stand up and walk away from the city. They refuse to live in that kind of utopia. I personally feel for that child. His whole life remains in gloom. Ursula K. Le Guin always creates such rich, thought-provoking psychological explorations. Her stories make you question your entire existence and what you actually want in life. The Lottery by Shirley Jackson. The story takes place on a clear sunny morning on June 27th in a small unnamed American village of about 300 people. The residents gather in the town square for an annual ritual known as the Lottery, conducted by Mr. Summers. The atmosphere at first seems festive. Children play and adults chat, though they subtly avoid the worn black box used for the lottery. But the lottery happens to be in two rounds. First, the head of each household draws a slip of paper. The Hudson family wins it, and they draw a slip marked with a black dot. Then in second round, each member of the Hudson family draws again, and this time Tessie Hudson draws a paper with the black spot, means she won the victory. But the moment she draws it, Tessie screams that the process wasn't fair. But the true nature of the lottery is revealed, and the winner is not given any prizes or something. The winner is selected to be stoned to death by the rest of the village. And the story ends abruptly and brutally as the villagers, including Tessie's own family and friends, pick up the stones and close in on her while she protests. This story actually reminded me of so many old folk stories where people really did these kind of things in the name of ritual or tradition. Even today, people still believe in similar things, although they are not usually this extreme. Many of these practices are conducted to different religious and cultures, and people have become so used to them that they accept them as normal, like chaining themselves or following other customs. Another striking thing is that Tessie was enjoying everything until it becomes about her, and the fact that all the people were behaving so normally as if it were just a play or regular event makes the story even more haunting.
It wasn't fair.
The Bet by Anton Chekhov. A wealthy banker and a young lawyer argues about the capital punishment versus life imprisonment. The banker claims that death is more human than living in prison, while the lawyer argues that any life is better than none. This escalates into a wager. The lawyer agrees to spend 15 years in solitary confinement in a lodge of the banker's estate. If he succeeds, the banker must pay him $2 million, and he gets put into the prison. Over the years, the lawyer is allowed books, music, wine, and tobacco, but no human contact. He goes through a profound transformation. In the early years, he suffers from loneliness and boredom, reading light novels and playing the piano. Then the later in middle years, he immerses himself in the classics, language, history, and philosophy. In the final years, he studies theology and reads widely, gaining immense wisdom but becoming disillusioned with the material world. And by the end, something unexpected happens. The banker, after 15 years, has lost most of his money, and he decides to kill the lawyer just before the 15 years are completed, so he does not have to pay. But when he reaches the lodge, he finds the lawyer looking extremely fragile and almost unrecognizable. He also finds a note, and in the note, the lawyer writes that he no longer wants the money. He plans to leave the lodge a few minutes before the time ends, or deliberately losing the bet, and that's exactly what he does. This was the most fascinating of all three for me because it creates a strong hook. You keep wondering what will happen next. The story does not give a direct answer with the life imprisonment is better than death, but subtly it shows both sides. In the first half, of the confinement almost feel like kind of heaven. Books, wine, a piano. What else could a person need? It sounds perfect. But by the end, it becomes clear that having too much knowledge and living in complete isolation can kill the meaning of life. Living in isolation changes a person deeply. That is why many prisoners lose the will to live and suicides. The story works both ways. People who die immediately are simply dead. But those who live for years in prison without real human connection often find that their interest in life dies too. It is a powerful exploration of a long-term human psychology. But these three short stories feel simple and different on the surface, but they are connected by the same thread. They tell so much more when you go deeper. As someone once said, the right exploration of human mind can only happen through stories, where people can be shown completely unfiltered, and that's exactly what these stories do.